Here we go, episode 9 of the Run the Tibby podcast. We are your 3 hosts, Stephen Diaz, Harry Hazen, TJ Tibbs, here to talk about all things basketball, coaching, and training perspectives. This is what we got on the menu today. Today, we are talking about stupid shit we hear parents say at games, in conversation. We touching everything today. So Tibbs, spark it. What do you got?
I mean, my number one thing that I hate when I hear at games is follow your shot.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
That's my number one thing. But the biggest thing is just that you're literally telling somebody to just shoot the ball, and as soon as you land, is go run after it. And follow your shot in general is just, I mean, you can argue about it. Like, there are actually some good rebounders out there after they shoot that land and they're still holding their follow through and then pursue their shot, because obviously if you shoot it, you have an idea that where it might go if you're gonna miss. So I understand that one. You shouldn't be fading away and running to the back, but shooting it as soon as you land, like, how do you yell follow your shot on a make? Like, I just don't get that. like the ball's clearly going in and it's like follow your shot. Like, that is the worst. That's got to be the worst thing that, well, maybe not the worst thing, but maybe just my number one.
I think that's up for us to judge at the end. What's the worst thing?
Yeah, that is up to judge at the end. But follow your shot is so bad, because if I shoot and the ball lands short, and I could have got the rebound if I followed my shot, and you're yelling at me, follow your shot. The next shot, I'm not even thinking about making the shot. I'm thinking about following my shot, because that's what you told me. Well, first of all, that's a whole nother thing. Kids, they have so much information being thrown at them, especially youth basketball in Staten Island. If you go to CYO, MIV around championships, middle school, it's like going to the Philadelphia Eagles stadium to watch the Eagles play. The fans are crazy. Everybody's yelling at you. Coaches yelling at you. Your parents are yelling at you. Your nieces, nephews, uncles, anybody in your family is there, and they're all yelling at you what to do. You got all these directions coming at you, left, right, and the other directions. You don't know what's going on.
What's another direction besides left and right?
Up, down.
Up and down.
That's how overwhelming it is.
I think follow your shot is also just so stupid, because it's like, there's people like also on the court, like, that are boxing out. Like, sometimes you can't just run at other human beings and just expect positive things to happen. So maybe you should just shoot the ball and leave it at that.
What's another thing we hear at youth games that just makes us cringe?
I hate, personally, I know, Tibbs, you're going to touch on something similar, but I hate, like, use your legs whenever a shot gets missed. Like, it doesn't matter if it's short or long, like, use your legs is the first thing that someone, and it's just like, yo, first off, what does that even mean? Second, if I'm a kid and I hear that, I'm going to think, okay, I should just jump really high the next time I shoot, which more often than not does not at all result in the shot going in more often than not, especially if you don't jump when you shoot. I think that's just a stupid thing that people say in general. Like, I know coaches and trainers use it also, but from a parent's perspective, like, what if you're yelling at a kid and you don't even know them? And you're talking about use your legs. Like, why are you talking to me?
Yo, so is use your legs and bend your knees the same thing? Because y'all know how I feel about bend your knees. You can't actually bend your knee, right? So that drives me crazy.
Nah, please explain.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get down with that.
I can't get down with this. You want to yell at people for talking about footwork, Mats. You're talking about you don't bend your knees, don't bend.
Knees don't bend, Pop. Knees don't bend. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you guys a question. What is your knee? What does it consist of? Like, what is it made up of?
Cap.
Shit. Bones or something.
Oh, bones. Stephen, would you agree? Bones?
The cap. That's my answer.
Oh, the cap. What's the cap made of? And no cap. Oh, bone.
No
okay,
cap.
let me ask you a question. Without
goddamn 87.
Without it being extremely painful, when's the last time you seen bone bend?
Kevin Ware. No, that was painful.
Wow. Extremely painful. That was painful for people not even like Kevin Ware, watching. I couldn't even
wait. Are you dead ass right now?
But
my arms, my elbows not bending. Hello?
Yeah, what's are you serious though? Like,
I'm dead ass.
Now you can't bend your knees, Pop. We're not getting into I'm not doing do your Googles. Do your Googles.
All right, scientist Tibbs, outside of the I guess physical incapability of bending your knees, why don't you like when people tell you to bend your knees?
Bro, he put the glasses on, bro.
Because what does that mean? Like you said, it's the same thing with use your legs. Like I know what they're trying to say. It came up short, but that's not the only reason why people miss short. You know what I mean? They might miss short because they're literally not strong enough to shoot from where they're shooting from. How come we never hear when somebody tries a 3/4 shot at the buzzer and it air balls, nobody goes, bend your knees next time? Next time you shoot this 94-foot shot, bend your knees. Because you don't bend your knees to shoot a full court shot, right? You got to just launch that joint. You know what I'm saying? So
right, yeah.
I understand, but you could have missed short because you literally short armed it. You did whatever the case may be in your mechanics, or it could just be you're shooting from too far, Pop. Move in. You know what I'm saying? I know this is the 3-point Steph Curry revolution. I know 3 is more than 2, all that stuff, analytics, Steve Diaz, right? All that stuff. But I just hate to bend your knees. I just think it's just you're better off just not saying anything at all. And it happens at the free throw line all the time, right? You miss a free throw short, and it's come on, bend your knees. It's just we only say it because somebody said it to us when we were younger, and now we just repeat the cycle. Let's just stop the bend your knees thing.
And most of the time, kid he's already bent his knees. You know what I'm saying? It's not often that they're shooting a straight leg free throw,
Yo, did y'all ever see Jerry Stackhouse? I don't know if he did this for a lot of his career, but
the thing where he would
yes, he's literally his ass is on the ground, pretty much. You think when he missed short?
You think he did that out of spite of a coach, telling him, bro, you gotta bend your knees, bro. You think he was yeah,
watch this.
100%. This guy is never gonna tell me to bend my knees ever again.
Right.
I forgot about that. Diaz, what's your top thing a parent yells?
Man, I can't think of anything specifically, but at the end of the day, any specific directions that you're giving about a play that happened or a play that's about to happen, you just need to save it, because directions should be coming at a timeout in the huddle from the coach. We need to understand our role as people who are developing our kids. We need to understand our role. So if I'm a kid and I'm playing, I don't know who to listen to. My dad, my mom, my friend's dad, my friend's mom, or the coach. I don't know who to listen to. Now, at the end of the day, sometimes the coaches aren't great, and that's a whole nother issue. But if they are the coach, the kid should probably listen to them. You know what I'm saying? Anything directional is just confusing.
But how do you solve that?
In the middle of a game.
How do you solve that? Because if I'm an ignorant parent to
Why'd he leave?
Tibbs got dog problems. If I'm an ignorant parent to whether or not the coach is good, I probably think the coach is bad, period, especially if my kid isn't scoring 40 a game. So then what happens? Now what?
Yeah. I mean, it takes awareness. I mean, at the end of the day, if you see your kid, if you see that there are better kids than your kid,
But there are no better kids than you. There are no better kids than your kid if you're a parent. I'm not a parent, by the way. I just know that that's the mentality they have. Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
Most parents. I don't know. It's hard to judge on that thing because like we don't have kids, so we don't know how it feels. And we always say like, oh, we wouldn't do this or wouldn't, but really, like, I don't know until you get there. You would like to think because we're immersed in the game, like, and we see these horror stories that you would like to think you wouldn't do that. But I mean, I have conversations all the time about the way certain people parent their kids. I'm like, well, who are we to tell a parent how to parent their kids? Like, that works for them. That's their personality. Most of the time, we don't even know the parent as like a youth themselves. You know what I mean? We just see them as a parent. We don't know like how they grew up or what the case may be or whatever it is. So, you know, my dad was really, really tough on me. He coached me and was really tough. Like, he didn't really give me any compliments until he stopped coaching me. So, like, a lot of times, like, that car ride home, man, it's just like, man, I'd rather walk, like, and we'd be in another state. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather walk. And some people would say, like, yo, that's not the right way to do things, you know? But I love that. I mean, I didn't love it all the time growing up. I didn't really understand it. But looking back on it, I'd rather have it that way than another way, you know? And who's to say that's going to work when I have kids on them, you know? They might just be built differently or they might just respond to it differently. So, you know, it's tough. I mean, I do think that people should be like Lavar Ball, right? Like, he's a polarizing figure.
Yeah.
Should he not do any of the things that he does? Because I actually think he's an amazing representative of parenthood. And can you argue with anything not anything he says, because he says a lot of ridiculous things, but can you argue the main point why he's out there? Like, 2 of his 3 kids are top 3 NBA draft picks. Like, there are college programs, I can't even say that. But 2 of his 3 boys and his other one will probably end up spending some time in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's a game, whether it's a season, whether it's a couple, whatever the case may be. So, like, how can you argue with that? Like,
I'll tell you how you can. Because that I don't know, bro. You're pushing a dangerous thing because now you're gonna have all these, assuming people put value into this podcast to the point where now someone's gonna change the way they parent, which would be crazy. But if someone listens to what you just said and then is like, yeah, I'm gonna be Lavar Ball for my kid who sucks. Now what? Like, now you just got a bunch of I don't want to call Lavar Ball arrogant, but what's the word that you would use to describe him? Like, enthusiastic or
outspoken.
Outspoken. Like, who
brash.
wants to see the outspoken brash parent of the kid?
But this is my thing. This is my thing, though. I didn't know Lavar Ball and he was obviously an athlete. I didn't know him when he was growing up, and I didn't know him as an athlete. And I don't know if he's one of those guys that because he had all this brashness and confidence, that's why he was as good as he was. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't tell anybody to go be Lavar Ball. I would say be you. Be whoever it is that you are, and just don't judge somebody for being a certain type of way because maybe they're over-compromising for things. My main thing with parents, and like I speak to my group of friends, I'm like, yo, when we're parents, the one thing I push like my group of friends to do now is let's accomplish everything that we possibly can in our life. You know what I mean? Like, let's do whatever our dreams are and everything. Let's make sure we're doing that. Because when we have kids, let's not live through our kids because of emptiness. Like, you know what I mean? Because I love basketball. I coach basketball. I would love if my kids play basketball, of course. But I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't. Like, I'm going to want them to be involved in a sport because of what it brings, a team sport, hopefully because of what that brings too, and interacting and working with others. But I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't like basketball. My dad loved baseball. He did everything to try to get me to play baseball. And I played up until a point where I had a choice to say, I don't want to play. This is boring. Like, I don't want to do this. So, you know, I think a lot of that is just, and why I try my hardest not to judge parents and how they do things is because I don't know what they're going through mentally. I don't know what they said, you know what, when I become a parent, I want to do this for my kid because I didn't get this or because I experienced this. So they're just because we see how they're doing it and we don't agree with the way they're doing it, or because we wouldn't do it that way, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Yo, bless it. As long as you're not hurting your kid and you're not destroying your kid, you do whatever you want to do. You want to post your kid every single day? Go do that, Pop. Like, do that. It's crazy to me. Why complain about it and you follow them? You feel me? Or you keep going. That's my thing. Like, why are you complaining about it? Like, they want to post their kid every day because the kid poured their own bowl of cereal. But let them do that. You feel me? Like my dad would never post me on anything. I don't care what I accomplish. He would never post me. He just don't do that. My mom will post anything about me. That's just how they are. You know what I mean? So people are how they are, and we should just embrace that. And the bottom line is, are they providing their kids with opportunities and sacrificing to help their kids reach whatever their goals are? And that's what parenting should be. I know we kind of went away from a couple things, but
yeah,
that's how I feel. Lavar Ball is a by all means, he's an excellent parent, bro. By all means, I don't think anybody can argue with that one. He's an excellent parent.
Right. I think one thing with Lavar though is that, you know, it requires a level of awareness that then, you know, gives you confidence to say the things that you're saying, right? Because Chino Hills was not some bum ass team out here, you know, like they were good. They were the best team in the country at one point. And little LaMelo was running around as a freshman and playing and doing well. They had their own playing style. That's a whole nother story. But they're beating legit teams. So they're in a great high school program. That's the progression, you know? Great high school program, best team in the country, great college or overseas to the league.
And now I'm gonna talk shit because we did it 3 times or 2.5.
And honestly, why are we mad at somebody that, like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you mad at somebody for spiking the football? They spiking the football because they're in the end zone. You know what I mean? So you want to be mad at that? Then go do it, because there are a lot of people out there who are trying to get their kids to the same point. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, they blessed with some genetics and stuff. Yeah, Lonzo's 6'4", Melo's 6'6", right? So, like, that's amazing. But there are a lot of 6'4" and 6'6" dudes walking around that play ball that not it. You know what I mean? So, like, there are a lot of things that had to go right. But the one thing that those boys don't lack is confidence. They're not afraid of. They're not afraid of criticism. They're not afraid of big moments. Boy, LaMelo been playing 17U since he was 12 years old. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's something like that. That is ridiculous to me. You know what I mean? That is just like unheard of. Like, and every clip you see of him being young, he's getting that joint up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he is shooting that thing, boy. Like, we all been there where we played, like, we're freshmen, we play against the JV kids, or we're JV, we play against the varsity. Like, you know, maybe some people are more confident in their abilities and they're ready to go. But we all been somewhere where we played against older kids, older situations where there's a little bit of nerves to it and everything. And, you know, I think those dudes walking into the best league in the world and they feel like they belong from the beginning. I think that's powerful. And kudos, man. Like I said, I think Lavar Ball is an excellent parent. I wouldn't do what he does. I wouldn't do that. But that doesn't make him right or me right. It just makes us different.
Was he their coach?
No.
Not right.
I mean, if you asked him, he'd probably say yeah.
Yes.
But nah, they actually I don't want to say they got rid of a coach, but I know Lonzo's senior year they had a different coach from what they usually had, and maybe Melo's last year they had a different coach. I'm not sure how that worked out, but I know they had more than one different coach.
I was going to say, though, I think the story behind that was like the coach, like the dad. Why am I saying the dad? Lavar was basically getting into it with the coach where if they wouldn't follow the style of play that, because he was their AAU coach, I believe.
Right.
So it was hey, Chino Hills, if you don't play the way we play with this super, we're going to just cherry pick press all game. It's very like unique pressing style, then we're not playing. So I think that is the dangerous part of, you know, being that type of parent.
I'm gonna disagree with you, and this is why I'm gonna disagree with you, because everything in life is about leverage. Who has more leverage than whom, right? And at that level, high school athletics, high school sports is a business. There are a lot of people that look at these kids, for right or for wrong, as some sort of business entity, right? Lonzo at 16 years old, 15 years old, was tabbed as a kid who could possibly go to the league. Look, we tab kids as NBA players when they're like 12, 13, 14 years old that never even materialize, right? So he's one of those kids that are in that eye. LaVar has this clear goal of getting all his kids to the NBA, and he has his method of how he's going to do it. Now, he's got 3/5 of the starting five. And plus, like, I think they had another kid stay with them, right? Whatever the case may be, they had another kid on the team who was like living with them. It's like the quote unquote fourth Ball brother. I forget the kid's name, and I apologize, but
Lil Dicky.
What?
You never see that video? You gotta watch that video.
Oh man,
Look up the fourth Ball brother.
That's crazy, but but so LaVar Ball, for better or for worse, has leverage. So there's Chino Hills, who we'd never heard of before, and anybody associated with that, they were undefeated, right? And they were like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country that year. Yep. Do they want the Ball brothers to walk as much as people just transfer high schools? Do they want them to go and other kids that may go? Or are they just going to eat this and get all the notoriety of how it helps the school and whatever the case may be? That's just a matter of how you do things. I may take the hard stand to go, yo, you know what, bro? I'm not dealing with this parent. I don't care who his kids are. I'm not doing this. So it's either I'm coaching the team the way I'm coaching it, or like y'all going to really let this guy do that. And that's a decision for me to do. And then it's a matter of the athletic director saying like, all right, man, it's been good having you, but we keeping the Ball brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like in that case, they have the leverage. So many people maybe wouldn't choose to use their leverage like that. And that's on you. But he chose to use his leverage for a lot of different things, man. He wasn't even Adidas. Let me tell you this. He wasn't even an Adidas affiliate. He was like an outside affiliate with Adidas. He got Melo Ball and the what was the AU team called? Ball something, right?
I don't even remember.
But I forget. But no, it might have been Big Baller Brand. I think it was Big Baller Brand.
Probably.
So he literally just had Big Baller Brand, no Adidas logo. He had them playing in Adidas showcase tournaments where it was only Adidas sponsored teams. He had them in there. And not only that, but they had them in the biggest game and shut down Las Vegas, bro. You know what I mean? So he has leverage. He understands that. He leveraged his son and everything to play in the game. They knew people would want to watch him. And he said, yo, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. We're not playing in all these Adidas events. We're just going to play in this. So, like, you just got to respect that because leverage and business things is the most important thing. And LaVar Ball understands leverage, and he helped his kids. We can even talk about differently how he developed his kids because everybody talked about how they don't play defense and the press and stuff, but they're offensively gifted. Like, they just worry about getting a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they learned from a young age how to get a bucket. They played way more possessions probably than anybody their age.
Defender. Lonzo is a good defender.
No, he is a good defender. He is a good defender. But I'm really talking about Melo more because all that, you know, we had a 90-something point game and he's literally just like not playing any defense at all. Yeah. But these dudes, everybody, you know, they feel like, you know, you could teach you how to play defense if you got the tools and whatever and the desire and the IQ. So these dudes really didn't stress defense. There's not a whole lot of clips of them really getting in a defensive stance and slapping the floor. Like these dudes are running by you. And they had one game versus Matter Day. And I'm sorry for going on a tangent where if you haven't seen this, you got to see it. Matter Day is a historic program in California, and they're really good. High-level Division I talents, pros. And that was supposed to be like their demise in their end. Like they're finally being mad. And they were up like 32-6 in the first quarter. Like, and the crazy thing about it, about all three of them, and why I like those kids, is because they're demolishing this storied team and with no emotion at all.
Stone face.
Like, no front end, like nothing. It's just like, bro, this is what we do, bro. Like, we're doing this for a long time. So you just got to respect that, man. I love the Ball brothers, man. I think they're dope.
I got two things. One, I still disagree with you, just on the leverage half, because to what you're saying about LaVar Ball, yes, correct. Yo, you got to understand, bro, like we're talking and people that are listening are probably parents that are not probably, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like someone might be listening who's a parent that's like, yo, my kid's that good. And then they're going to go and tell the high school coach, yo, we're out if he doesn't play 40 minutes a game. Like, that's a problem, dude. Like, that's really bad.
But, bro, doesn't that happen anyway?
That's a problem. That's bad. That is bad. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're a bad parent for doing that, but that creates a bad culture of basketball.
For whom?
That
For whom?
surrounding the narrative of that player.
Definitely for
you
the
got to
kid.
you got to deal with if you want the kid, you got to deal with this crazy parent.
Yes,
That's a
okay.
problem, and that's going to affect that kid's recruiting.
But guess what? But guess what? I'm going to say no to an extent. There are people who will tolerate that at each level. You know what I mean? Like there are kids out there with handlers, right? 16-year-old kids, 15. You already know who their guy is, who their handler is. And when college coaches recruit these kids, they have to go through these guys. So just because I personally wouldn't do it or you personally wouldn't do it because of the standards of your program doesn't mean at a certain level that you don't have to do it. You know what I mean? Like if you have a high school program that is now a national program or big time program and you got to win to a certain extent, you're going to have to deal with an 8th grade kid who has a handler, and their handler might be their parent. I'm not saying their parent is all parents are handlers, but some parents act like handlers. So you want to get a kid to come to the school, you have to go through their handler. Their handler may be their parent, maybe their AAU coach, maybe just a dude. You know what I mean? Maybe just somebody. Mm-hmm. So I think we got to be careful when we look at things that philosophically that we wouldn't do. And I do agree with these things. Like it affects a lot of things. I'd rather you not do that. That's how I feel strongly. I'd rather you not do that. But I also think that's a world that most of us don't even understand. We can only look at from the outside. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's like to have a kid, whether it's my kid or a kid that I'm dealing with directly as a handler, air quotes for anybody who's listening, to be like, yo, this dude has a chance to make money off of playing basketball. So I got to make sure I'm doing everything right to put him in the best situation. You know what I mean? Because I'll take a situation like, and I've used his name before, and this is my guy, Liam Murphy, who plays at Columbia. Liam Murphy was 6'6" and played JV, a 6'6" wing, and played JV basketball in Staten Island. Anybody that's seen him play had a lot of questions. Like, believe me, I got a lot of texts. Like, and I went to St. Peter, so I understood what was going on. You know what I'm saying? It was a long-term thing for Liam. That's what they felt was best. If Liam's parents or anybody dealing with Liam, you could take Jay David, who is his AAU coach, who's like, yo, bro, you play varsity at 99% of schools. Even if you didn't play, we getting you out of there. Who am I to say that was wrong for the kid? You know what I mean? Because of what? How it like he's at Columbia now, and that's awesome. But like maybe somebody turns around and goes, yo, that year of development really held him back. Maybe he could have been going to a Power 5 school. Who am I to sit here and argue it? I wouldn't force Liam to go to another school. And let's not use Liam, but another kid in a similar situation. I wouldn't do that, right? But somebody may, and it may help them, you know? So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of how you feel you're going to get some things done. Some people are just more aggressive than others at getting it done. It gets really sticky when you're the parent of that kid because it's all those, you know, just parenting norms or whatever the case may be. But I think although a lot of those things are crazy, in my opinion, I think we got to be careful when we talking about what they're doing.
I want to say Liam Murphy is far from a Scribini. I think Harry is talking from the perspective of a Scribini's parent.
But those are people,
when it comes to that, like just parents who are unaware.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Those are people who are ignorant. They don't know they don't know, right? We talked about that, the 4 stages of development, right? They don't know what they don't know. It's the very first stage. So it's just like, and I really think a lot of those people are trying in their best to do what they think is best. I think it's just coming off completely wrong. So, you know, you're not an expert in the situation. I don't know who is an expert because I'm not an expert, but I'm experienced. But I think you should seek people. You know, I deal with my nephew's recruitment. He's a junior, class of 22 in football, right? And he's got Power 5 offers and things like that. And a lot of people assume because I coach college basketball that I'm well-versed in football recruiting. And yeah, can I help him navigate stuff with recruiting? And then of course I can, right? But football is a totally different beast. These coaches are recruiting. They're signing 23, 25, 27 kids a year. I'm trying to get 2 to 4 or 5 kids a year. It's a whole different type of thing as far as relationship. You might not have any relationship with the head coach, period. You know what I mean? it's really your position coach, and your position coach may change all the time. Like it's a different type of problem. So I try to seek people who deal with football recruiting. Like, you know what I mean? It's so easy for people to be like, oh, you already know what's going on and you can help them, but I don't. And I think that's the first thing. Like, yeah, I know a lot of things, but I need to get more well-versed on all these things and what's the best thing for him to do. And then it's my job as an adult in his life to try to put the best foot forward. And we've made mistakes. We've made mistakes with his stuff along the way, starting from 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And now he's in 11th grade. We made mistakes, and he will, and I will continue to make mistakes as long as he seeks my counsel. But we have to seek other people outside opinion and then look at the history of decisions and try to make the best decision for ourselves.
I have a question. I have a question about going back to the Lavar Ball thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Might have selective memory, but his demeanor as a parent watching his kids play was very different than his demeanor as a coach, right? I remember the AAU game. They walk off the court, this and that, as the coach, whatever, this and that. But what I remember from him just watching his kids, it's like laid back and he's just cheering them on. Am I right or wrong about that?
I think you might be right, but I still think that the narrative surrounding him is the narrative surrounding him, if that makes sense. So like he could be sitting, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it's like he could be sitting there, and then if he made like one little reaction, the outside perspective would probably be like, there he goes. You know what I mean? Like there he is.
Yeah.
There's the VAR. Exactly. So I want to agree with you, but I also want to say like he had done his fair share of outlandish things and statements to create that buzz.
My point is that there is a point to talk, and then there's a point to let the kid play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's as ridiculous and outlandish as Lavar Ball is, or the things he says, he still kind of understood his place when he wasn't the coach, and you know, left all the talking for after the game. You know, he'd always say, "Come see me after the draft. Come see me after the game." You know, he'd always do things like that. So, you know, and that's giving confidence to your kids, right, Tibbs? Talk about that.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so crazy when people were talking about Lonzo and Melo getting drafted and like bringing up LeVar Ball as a potential issue. Like, dude, like this is the NBA. Do you think he's gonna get courtside tickets to every game and act a fool? And even if he does, let's just say he does, okay? What is the difference between him and any drunken fan that sits courtside at a game, or Spike Lee, or what's the difference? Is the fact that it's somebody's father? You think somebody who gets paid millions of dollars to play in the NBA and has to guard Russell Westbrook is going to worry about what his dad is telling him on the side? You know what I mean? Unless your dad is like Pat Riley, you feel me? Like, yo, you got Jimmy Butler tonight, bro. You got to push him left. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? The kids seem well grounded. I mean, I could go on and on about this LeVar Ball stuff because I think there are people out there like him, you know, not so much in the national scale, obviously. And then also, like, he was building a brand, literally. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're retweeting him and putting him out there and he's saying stuff and you keep, like, you know, you keep putting him on camera. So no publicity is bad publicity. And you're building a brand, you know, because in a while the kids are gonna have their own money. And how's LeVar getting money? And I don't know what he does, but he seems to be living pretty good. Yeah. You could say, you know what I mean? Like, you could say, like, all right, well, he got 2 kids in the NBA, but I mean, before that, he seemed like he was living pretty good. You know what I mean?
The court looked nice.
Yeah, you know,
backyard or whatever.
They moved and whatever, and you know, you follow those things. So you can laugh at all these things. He sparked a league. He had his kids overseas. He had Melo over there, 16 years old, man, playing overseas basketball. So there are kids graduating college this year, every year, that want to play overseas, and the 16-year-old was doing that. So he's giving his kids experience. And when they get old enough, Melo's 19 now, he got to make his own decisions. That's it, period. If he wants to counsel his father, counsel his father. But, you know, so I don't really be tripping over people. Like, we can laugh about it or whatever. Or or question what people do internally, but in reality, it's like we're looking at it because there's something there. Whether it's horrible or it's really good, or something get there. So like, people should just understand more internally what type of kid they have. Less about their ability and more about what actual type of kid you have is going to try to get to these expectations that you are setting for them. Like if they're not setting their own expectations and you as a parent are pushing all these on them, then I mean, after a while, that is going to be old.
Do you think that some parents should put their kids in reality television shows like Ball in the Family or
Hello, Newmans.
Wow.
I mean, yo,
I forgot about that one.
I mean, yo, all the Kardashian kids are on TV. What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean,
like Tristan Thompson's kid and Kanye's kid, they're on TV. What's the difference?
I'm a fan. I love Ball in the Family.
Here's the difference. Ball in the Family is phenomenal.
Must watch.
Here's the difference, and this is sort of like a question, because you hear a lot about, if you put a kid, speaking about the reality television thing, if you put a kid in the limelight, they never pan out, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, like, are we just judging that parent or that kid based on their success, period? Because I think we look at Lavar Ball a lot differently if his kids were scrubines. But the fact that you Tibbs have the ability to say what you said because his kids are top 3 draft picks, or 2 of them are, and they're awesome kids. You know what I mean? And they're like super laid back, stone faced, as you were like, they're not emotional in the court kids. So is at the end of the day, you just judge the parent based on the child and not even worry about them? Because not to compare the two, but in terms of being outlandish and starting a brand, the Newman family is very similar, and even how they've started to carry themselves with, now they have the TV show, they started the Prodigy thing, like, but are we judging them differently because 2 are in the league and 2 aren't playing basketball anymore?
Yeah, I think that's a tremendous question. And I think when you speak all of this out into public and you put yourself on a public platform, then you have to understand that you're going to be open to criticism. So for all, and same for us, right? I mean, we're on a public platform speaking about things and whatnot, and everybody's not going to agree with everything that we say, and everybody's not going to voice their
3-man
opinion.
weave sucks.
And everybody's not going to, reach out to us and say something positive. But like, in the end, you can't really be mad at that because we're putting ourselves out there to be criticized or to be praised, right?
Right.
Like, you got to treat the love and the hate is the same thing. So I think he has more of a leg to stand on because of the results, right? And in the end, like, the results matter to that. But I'm not really looking at the results. The results are just an added cherry for me. And we know about these kids more because of their results. But I mean, there are so many other things besides them getting drafted in the top 3 that I think make him an amazing father and an amazing parent of a basketball kid and kids. So yeah, like, you look at the Julian Newman stuff, and like, he was at it from young, right? And then his sister was at it,
young.
And it's tough because, like, he's not the Ball brothers, right? So a lot of people like to laugh at that, and as Julian Newman's family kind of has to take that because probably for a long time they had a whole lot of praise, and there's still some praise, but now it's just like people think it's cool to hate, bro. Nate Robinson got knocked out. Crazy, right? That was crazy. He got knocked out, but like, it's so easy. People just jump on for laughs and stuff like that because it was crazy and it was entertaining. That's the whole thing. Like, you tuned in because one way or another is going to be entertaining, but it's so easy for people to part their lips and say something negative than it is to show love, even to their own friends, right? Even to their own friends. It's so hard for people to support people and want people to do well because for some reason they think that because of their success is taken away from something they're doing. And I just think that that's because a lot of people are just empty in what they've accomplished or not accomplished or what they're doing, that they're not fulfilled, that like there haven't been enough situations where like, oh snap, like, yo, this person's doing a lot of great things and I can do great things too. Like, and it's not stopping me from what I'm doing. And that's just my opinion about it.
Jealousy.
Yeah, I mean, is jealousy and being and envy two different things? You know, I don't know the exact. I think they are. I don't know the exact definition, but like it. I don't have to like. Sometimes it's a human thing, and I think it's fine. Like I don't have to look at somebody's situation and be like, I want that. You know, um, but you don't have to look at somebody else's situation and be like, I hate that they have that. Those are two different things. You know what I mean? Like, damn, man, like, yo, Steve had 40 last night. He's getting all this praise, man. I want to have 40. I'm not mad at Steve for having 40, but I want that. I'm looking at what he's got. I want that. How do I get that? I want that. Or like, yo, Steve had 40 last night, man. Like, he not even like that. Like, they played this team like they damn hard. You know what I mean? Like, let the man have 40.
Yeah, like that
wasn't stopping you from getting 40 in your game. That
don't
was
don't hate on my 40.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I just think that once people just kind of reshape that and stop using things, and it's hard because parents, we have a lot of parents that weren't athletes, or at least weren't athletes at the level where they're trying to get their kids. So they're entering new territory as people. And obviously every day is new territory as a parent, right? Every day. I've been coaching for 14 years, and every day is new territory. Every single day there's something new that I'm learning about kids or whatever. Go ahead, Steve.
I have a question as a coach. How I'm sure you've run into this situation before. You're coaching, a kid on your team's parent is yelling at the kid to do whatever it is. How is the situation addressed?
First of all, I love it.
Is the situation addressed?
First of all, I love it. And I love it because that means the parent's there. So that's amazing that the kid has somebody in the stands, right? So that's an amazing thing. I love it. Parents, yell whatever you want during the games. That's amazing. You yell whatever you want. Understand this as a parent, and I'll get to specifically how I would address it. You can yell whatever you want at games, right? It's a free country. I can do whatever, right? But understand that people hear that stuff. You know, I was just talking to my man about this yesterday, and I said, people yell things at games and think you don't hear it. No, we just so used to ignoring you. As a player, you say whatever, you ignore it. As a coach, I hear all those things. And every once in a while, somebody says something that's crossing the line, I will turn and shoot a glance. Like, yo, I heard you. Like, don't think you just come here to the game and just start talking about my mother or something. Like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not okay. You want to razz me? You want to all the spirit of the game? I love that. I love that. We need that. But don't be coming saying something that's crazy. Don't do that. Now, let's talk about a kid on my team. Their parent, their mom, and all that, their uncle, they can come and yell whatever they want. Yo, shoot it. Yo, every time they can do whatever they want. I love it. I'm glad that they have somebody in the stands. My problem is if you're listening to them, period. I don't care what they're telling you. I don't even care if they're telling you great advice about the basketball game. I don't care. I don't care if they're way better coaches than me. And some of them probably are, right? Let's give them credit for that. But the moment you're acknowledging them, either literally like looking at them, giving them a nod, or turning to them, or they told you to shoot it and I felt like you shot it because they told you to shoot it, now I have a problem. But who do I have the problem with? I don't have a problem with people in the stands. I might not even see them ever again. Might be one of your boys that came down for the weekend. You know what I mean? I might not see them ever again. My problem is with my kid. And to tell you the truth, we've had situations like that, or I should say a situation, one that stands out in my mind. And I addressed it immediately. And this was like, yo, this is what I seen. I could be wrong, but I seen this, and then I seen you do this. What's up with that? Right? What's up with that? And me and one of my kids really got into it. And in our program, that's not a big deal, but like we got into it because he felt like he wasn't listening to the crowd, and I felt like he was. But there was a clear thing that, okay, I trust you. You said you wasn't. You just made that decision, which I felt like was a poor decision. But as long as we're on the same page, is that what goes on over here has to do with our players and our coaches. So the moment, and my dad's one of those people. When I played, my dad would rarely say anything, but when he did, you could hear him. I could hear him a mile away. And it was always like something, not negative, but when I did something negative, you know what I mean? I had 40 points in the basketball game. This guy ain't say nothing. Guy had 24 points in the basketball game, and I had one turnover. This guy's all over me for the turnover. You know what I mean? So, like, parents, you can come and say whatever you want, but understand, if your kid, if that's messing up your kid, because your kids can hear you through 5,000 people. 10,000 people. They can hear you. If your kid is being affected by that, you're not doing your kid the best service. And then who knows what type of coach you're dealing with, because they can be really offended by those things. So, and then some people will treat your kid differently based on what coach, put him in the game and all. I hear that stuff.
And
you know
then,
what I mean?
And then timeouts become about, don't listen to your parents, listen to me. Then you're wasting time in a timeout reminding the kids that who they should be listening to.
Yeah, it's wild. Right. Can I end on the training world of your question?
Yes.
I just want to shout out Tariq Bailey and Elijah Bailey, because he's like a perfect example of a dad where he's brought his kid to a workout. This is actually pretty funny. He brings his kid to a workout. Sometimes he'll be up and like literally helping rebound, which like I would never ask for. He'll be up helping rebound. If Elijah misses a shot, he'll react like it's a game, like he missed a shot, like he'll literally like make that sound. Yeah. But to what you're saying, at no point is Elijah ever like, diverting from the focus of the workout. Like he's able to just stay focused and locked in on the workout itself and not turn it into like, the worst case scenario that you're talking about, where it becomes a clash of, are you listening to the coach or the parent? But I've also been at workouts, not naming names, where it's literally, I am now almost a rebounder for the parent kid interaction, where I've been in a situation where like I'm trying to show the kid a move and he's struggling, and the parent comes onto the court and incorrectly demonstrates that same thing. just like, yo, I don't even know what we're doing here. But for me, I think it's different, because in a game there's so much going on. You could be distracted by your teammates, by a million other people in the stands, but when it's literally 3 people in a gym, me parent kid, it's a very different, more intimately either better or worse scenario. So that's the training outlook on that question.
Yeah. Do we have anything else that we want to throw in there that we hate that parents say? Or just
I forgot that was what this podcast was about.
Yeah, I thought I didn't even know we were going to talk about Lavar.
Listen, man, I think it was necessary. Hopefully we got parents and coaches out there that just don't, because it is frustrating. It's definitely frustrating dealing with parents. Like, I wouldn't be human if I didn't say like it's tough. I mean, a big reason why I wanted to coach the college level as I got older was because you have less interaction with parents. That was a big thing. High school, you have to deal with the parent. You have to. They are taking care of their kids. Kids are not 18. They're responsible. You have to. Whether you like it or not, there's got to be some sort of dealing with the parent. In college, during the recruiting process, you deal with the parent. And I always tell parents, you can call me anytime. I have your kid, you can call me anytime and talk to me about how they're doing mentally, physically. If you're worried about them eating or something that's going on at home, you can call me anytime and talk about that. We can talk. The minute you start talking about basketball, or the minute you start talking about helping them handle a responsibility that I'm trying to help them grow into and teach, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just hang up the phone, because we're not doing that at all. So that's why it's tough for me. It's hard to walk the line, because we have great parents in our program and very involved, and it's awesome, and show up to games. And after games, you don't want to get a habit. It's easy to go walk past the parents when you win and everybody's kid who's there played, right? You walk by, you want to have a conversation, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just walk by, be polite, say hello, and just keep it going. Whether we win, whether we lose, and be consistent with that. Because when you lose, those people, they have an opinion about the game you don't want to hear. They have an opinion about their kids' playing time, and it's their right. When you go home, you got 14 kids on the team. There's 14 different versions of what happened in the game. And that's not changing. You're not changing that. You understand? So, like, that's a major reason why I coach in college. And hopefully anybody who listens who's got youth teams or AAU that has to deal with parents, you just try to assume the best about parents. And instead of trying to, be mad at them, try to, educate and inform them. So maybe they can go about situations a little different. If they don't, that's their right. That's their kid. So there ain't nothing we could do about that.
Or just become a college basketball coach.
Yeah, to wrap it up, I think that as a parent, you have something to say during a game, just don't. If it's not encouraging, leave it for after the game. Have a conversation with your kid. Have a conversation with the kid's coach. That's probably going to go further than you yelling whatever direction you think is correct in the game. It's okay to instill confidence in your kids, and it's okay to talk highly of your kids. That's okay. There should be nothing wrong with that. And people who are offended by that probably don't have as good of kids. And to wrap it up, we about to order this pizza, and we're gonna call you right back.